I have one question for you. Who is going to bring the fun?
You're in the honky tonk with Todd, the Data Cowboy.
All right, well, that is the question. Who is going to bring the fun? We're super excited to be here outdoors, our live podcast today. So the Bring the Fun podcast, we are interviewing all the most fun people in the line dance industry all over the world. And I am all over the world 5 minutes from my house. So I moved to West Virginia about 2 years ago and ran into this amazing lady who has been in the line dance industry for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
And has dominated this whole Northern Virginia area, runs the largest group of line dancing people up here. And from 2 years ago, when I met her, they were doing 2 nights a week, just coming off of COVID. Now they're doing 4 or 5 nights a week. And Northern Virginia, there's probably 3 places you can go every night in Virginia. So Danielle Schill with LineDance4You, welcome to the podcast. So we always like to start the podcast off, like kind of get your history. Like, how did you start line dancing 20 years ago? Where did it get that, get that bug to get into the business?
Right. Well, actually, it was by accident. So when I was 25 years old, and the local radio station put out an ad saying there was going to be a country night at a bar just around the corner from here. And I was single. I didn't have anything to do. I said I'd go out and give it a try. I started going to a bar over here. It's called Ned Divine's over in Sterling. And I went there the first time by myself. I didn't know anybody. There were probably like 10 or 15 people there. A guy named Kevin was there with his sister that were teaching it. And, I just met so many great people that after that, I didn't even bring people with me. I felt so comfortable going there by myself. And about a month or 2 into it, maybe a couple more, I'd gotten to know the managers, I'd gotten to know the people. And Kevin's sister had stopped teaching at that point, and the manager asked if I would step in and fill the shoes. And so I did, and Kevin and I actually taught together for the first year or so. And then he went on to do other things, and they asked if I wanted another partner. I said, no, I've got it from here. And honestly, I did it solo for a number of years until about 2010, or 2009 actually, when I became pregnant with my first daughter. And that's when LineDance4You became actually an organization as opposed to just me on my own.
Nice. So you did one night, or how many nights a week?
Yeah, it was just one night a week back then. And, we moved from different locations, and we really learned what happens with, we did do other times. Actually, we picked up Freedom, our DJ that we love so much, at a place called Mahalo Cove. We had done Wednesdays. So that was our first branch out to have a second night of the week. And he came in as a substitute DJ. And as a sub DJ, he came in. He had such a great time with us. He became really part of our family, and he's become a big DJ in this area with line dancing specifically. But yeah, so we did it 1 night a week, sometimes 2 for a while. But we never really dreamt it to be anything more. It was something we loved doing. It was fun. There were more places to go in that time period. There were a couple of country bars here in Northern Virginia back then. And so we kind of covered out here. And I never thought of it as more than a hobby.
Yeah.
Until the past number of years, it's really just exploded, and it's been wonderful. It's been great to be on the ride for it.
Yeah. Well, since just in the last 2 years, she's added amazing instructors. Mm-hmm. She's got Mike Cash. She has Jacqueline Wilson. Yeah. Just hired or just brought on Wendy Palmer. Mm-hmm. Incredible group. All amazing, fun instructors. That's why, when we started the Bring the Fun app, and I was like, who should we have around the country on my advisory board? Who brings the most fun in this industry? Danielle crushes it. I mean, she does such a great job, and her whole team just is just like her. Just gets out there. Everybody has a great time. They start from beginners on up. And then this last year, you added a Monday night, which is for the intermediate. So beginners Tuesdays and Saturdays at Loudon Kitchen, and now they're doing Monday nights for the intermediate. So the more advanced dancers are doing great. So
and then we have Thursdays as well.
That's phenomenal. And then Thursdays at Blue Mont.
Yeah,
so
we have a number of them.
And then we've done a couple Sundays here and there, and some other venues. So,
and even before Jacqueline and Mike and Wendy, and then of course Stephanie, who's been amazing, all the admin behind it, and
doing all the video specialists. Yeah, she's incredible.
But even before them, we had 4 other instructors prior to COVID, and we had 5 classes a week going just before COVID. And I think COVID came right at the time. It was getting to be a lot. Yeah. It was a lot, but it was great. It was wonderful, and we've always been blessed with really great instructors. One specifically was always, was such a good friend, and actually now lives 2 doors over from me. So we kept her close. So it's great.
So tell us a little bit about kind of how you decided to build the business, or your process of building the business, bringing on additional people besides yourself.
So one of the trends I found when I first got pregnant with my oldest daughter, who's now 10, when I would find that if I was out and I just brought somebody else into sub, people would always come back and say, well, it was fine, but it wasn't like when you were here. And it wasn't necessarily that I was so special, but I think that everybody, they sort of have a comfort level with their first instructor, right? They like the way that first instructor teaches usually. And so what I realized at that point was, when I was going to be out for a while for maternity leave, I didn't really want to just leave it out there for anybody to fill in and whatnot, and to potentially lose the momentum we'd had in growing our classes. So I brought on our first instructor with LineDance4You. Her name was Bethany, and she came on, and she was a regular already with us, so she knew sort of the style and how I taught, and she knew a lot of the people, but she was able to step up into that position. And a lot of what we do with LineDance4You is more about the community, and so she really took a hold of that and really built that. I mean, it all is for everybody. I know I'm not alone in that, but she knew our community. And so she understood the mission of what we were trying to do, and she did it wonderfully. So when I came back, I decided to just keep her on, and then we continued from there.
Nice, very nice.
So,
and how do you kind of go about deciding venues and nights and all of that? How do you manage that process?
So for the venues, I really look at a venue that has sort of a happy medium where we both get something out of it and the venue gets something out of it. I always say it always has to be a happy marriage on both sides. So I look for venues, obviously, that have a decent floor space, have the capabilities, obviously, first check, but also too, they have to have a good menu of food and drinks. They've got to have good staff and good service related to it, because the way we structure is that we build the bars and we come in as entertainment, and with the expectation that our people that are coming in, they're going to buy some food or drink. They're going to come in, and oftentimes we've always done it on a slower night, was usually how we did it, because we all know line dancers typically don't eat or drink too much. I mean, they certainly don't drink too much often, but they don't always eat as much either. And so we would always start off with doing it on an off night, on one of their slower nights, and therefore they came in, they had a full bar. But when we would change it around, so whenever we had a venue that picked up, we would always try to set it up that way. However, now, like our Saturday nights, I mean, they're so busy now. We've gotten to the point now where we can bill out to a high level night, because we can bring enough people in there. And yeah, there's still always people who don't spend much, but they're offset by people that do.
Spend a lot.
Right, and so we have such a nice following of people now that do it, and so that's really how we sort of pick the sites and the venues. But we're lucky now that we only work with the people we really want to, and we choose venues that we really want to work at, that we think our dancers will be excited about going to. And we have a lot of places that reach out to us on a regular basis. And if I don't think that it's going to be a good setup for the dancers, or I don't think the management's going to be easy to work with, or just kind of, it may not be a harmonious relationship, it's no point in going forward with it. It's all supposed to be about happiness in what we're doing.
So I don't know how it was prior to COVID, but the two venues that you are at now, the Loudon Kitchen and Bar, I always tell people it's called Kitchen and Bar because it is a kitchen.
It's so good.
The food is incredible there, and it's maybe a little more pricey than a normal sports bar or anything, but the food is spectacular. Yeah. And then Bluemont Station, which is a winery, has the best dance floor in the entire area. Absolutely gorgeous winery out in the little mountain hills. And incredible burgers, great food. So yeah, you've done a great job picking out amazing venues.
And great management, staff on both of them too. Like the people that work there, I mean, they like the line dancers like them. It's just a great, happy relationship.
Oh, that's fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about your line dancing craft. Like, at what point in your career did you decide, hey, I'm now going to start doing choreography? I want to choreograph some dances, as opposed to just teach other dances that people have done.
Right. So choreography actually came out, I think, like most people, it probably came out by accident. I wasn't looking to do this. My very first dance, I'm not even sure if it's called A Little Bit of Life. It's been so long since I've even looked at it. That just, like most of my dances, it just came out of, a song came on and I just started moving with it. And I found the dances that do well are the ones that I don't have to think too hard. They just naturally come out. And when your feet just start moving naturally in a certain way, it fits. The ones, I can tell the ones that I've choreographed where I've had to think about it, and they're not as good. And honestly, I don't even teach a lot of my dances anymore because it's ones that, you know, sometimes it's practice, but you know, they're up there. Maybe somebody will find them interesting, but I tend to make sure that I'm trying to choose dances that I think my dancers will enjoy. And often I will choreograph if one, I'm just super inspired, or if there's a song that we really like, but there's no dance out there to it. So like Better When I'm Dancing by Megan Trainor. What a better song about what we do, right? We like, and it's just so true for us. But oddly enough, there was no line dance to that. And I sat down there at my dance place in Florida, and that came on. And again, the dance just came out naturally. Now the last 4 counts of it, I did a V-step in it. That was the one part I wasn't sure about. And so I actually took it to my dancers at our class and said, here's what I'm thinking of as possible endings. What do you think? And they all voted to do the V-step.
Cool.
So.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So some of the ones, your favorite ones, definitely Daisy Dukes and Cowboy Boots. Fantastic dance. Your latest one, Powerful Women, with the Dolly Parton Pitbull
I love that song. Such
great
a good
song and great dance. I totally agree with you. When I'm learning to dance, if it is smooth and it just feels natural, that is when I'm going to dance.
Right.
If it's not, it's like, oh, I learned it, but I'm not going to keep going out for this one. And so some of those that you've done have been fantastic.
Right.
Really. And then High Heels on the Beach.
That's my favorite.
It's probably, it's probably the #1 popular one. And Mike Cass, who's put in the whole
Mr. Wiggle Wiggle.
Wiggle Wiggle, Mr. Wiggle Wiggle, Mike the Mike,
Yeah.
put in Wiggle Wiggle into that and yells that all the time, and that's made it even a new fun twist of the dance. So great job on the choreography.
I always say for High Heels on the Beach that Mike deserves partial choreography credit because he may not have done the footwork, but his Wiggle Wiggle addition to it has made it from good to great.
Yes, he's phenomenal, super fun. And we call him Mike the Mike because he does not need a mic.
No.
Tell us a little bit, like, what challenges have you had in the business or running the business, or what do you see as kind of the things that other people should look for, or any advice that you have for people?
Well, honestly, one of the things, and ironically, just before COVID, I say this is kind of a funny, not funny, right? My last class before COVID, like I said, at that point we had 5 classes going a night. At that point, we'd had an intermediate night too. And then we had a number of other classes just like we do now. And we were getting to a point where we were creating a class system between the dancers. And it was getting to be a chore to really marry these together because we try to always keep everyone together and try to keep it all levels in what we're doing. And some of that sort of drama did create an issue. So basically, when we were doing so many classes, we had an intermediate night, and then we also had a lot of our regular classes where we had beginners, we had just regulars doing not maybe intermediate to advanced dances, but improver and whatnot. And the problem that we ran into a lot were the intermediate dancers didn't want to dance to the beginner dances or with the beginners, or we had beginners that can't do the intermediates. And we really got to a point where we were getting so much pushback between the different ones. And I say, it really got really frustrating at that point because there's actually a meme or a GIF or something out there that said, beginner dancers know nothing, intermediate dancers, know everything. Hotshot will dance with nobody. Hotshot dancers will dance with nobody, but advanced dancers will dance with everybody, right? And I don't put it out there because it does come off kind of mean in the intent, but it is true in a lot of ways because we really try to bring everyone together. And that's sort of our goal, is to make sure that everybody's, whether you're brand new or you're advanced, that everybody has a chance. And also because we're doing these at bars, when you're not on the floor, you're supporting the venue, right? You're doing something along those lines, or you're making friends, or you're meeting your future spouse, or whatever it is. But we were running into a lot of troubles there. So ironically, I remember it so vividly. My very last class, just before COVID happened, in March of, 2020, I came home from dance and I was walking in. I remember right as I was opening the door into my house, I just stood there and looked at the wall for a second. And I was just thinking, I was like, it's been 15 years at that point. And I was like, how long do I keep doing this? I was just feeling beat down. It was becoming a job. Right? I wasn't feeling passionate. I didn't love it anymore. It was feeling like work. to marry this. And I was like, how long do I keep doing this? Well, at that point, right after that, that week, COVID shut us all down. And so that was not my goal. I didn't mean to shut us down for COVID. But I will say the nice thing is that break was what I needed to gain focus again. And now we've brought it back with a new love and appreciation for what it is and how to marry these things together again. So I took the needed break, and that we all were forced to take, but now we've merged these things together. And I feel like while we do still always have the divisions, it's not as bad as it used to be. And I think now we sort of go into it knowing that and encouraging people more about, we like our brat system now.
Yeah.
We have our I stole this from one of the ladies down at Joyland in Sarasota, and she used the term brat, which was back row assistant teacher. And we try to do that now to encourage those intermediate advanced dancers to remember what it was like to be beginners. So.
And I think you've done a great job, especially Tuesdays and Saturdays where it starts out as beginner. A lot of the regulars just don't come for that first hour. And so the beginners can get all of their new dances in or learn the beginning dances. The intermediates come and kind of make that progression throughout the night.
Right.
Then by the end of the night, it's just kind of the advanced
right.
dancers still hanging out and doing that. So you've done a great job on that. And I think everybody gets what they need out of it, and everybody enjoys it, and it makes everybody very, very happy. Tell me a little bit about, have you done workshops? Have you done events? What's your view on events? Because there were a lot of that going on when you started.
So yeah, when I started doing this, of course, like I said, when we first started, literally when we first started, we taught 3 dances. And we did them to every song. We had the El Paso, we had Easy Come, Easy Go, and Sleazy Slide. That was all we knew. We didn't have a way to learn new dances. And there really weren't conferences that we were aware of. We were just going to a bar and dancing with our friends. And so the conference scene for the years before, at least in my perspective, there was sort of a differentiation. There were people that danced at the bar, and to kind of clarify, I see my role a little bit differently than a conference instructor, for instance. At a conference, you're going to the conferences because you're already passionate about line dancing and you want to get better at it and you want to excel and really go after that craft. My focus in bar dancing is entertainment. I want it to be a cheers feeling. I want anybody who walks into that bar to feel welcome, to feel like these are fun people to be around. This is something fun to do. I can bring my friends in and we can do it. Not necessarily to make you a top line dancer, but I hope I instill the spark of fire in someone, right? I hope I spark that fire. So personally, I don't typically attend a lot of conferences. At the time when I probably would have, which was, pre-husband, pre-children, in those times when I had a lot of free time. Again, it just wasn't something that was part of our repertoire. And to be quite frank, the few times I've been to conferences, they have been so much fun, but I have no willpower. And so I know that the few times I did go to a conference, I came back and I would teach like 12 new dances right out of the gate. And inevitably, nobody remembered any of them. And I couldn't control myself. I was so excited to do them all. And so partially I kind of pulled back because I knew I couldn't control my own excitement about it. Now I think with age and also my team behind me, we can temper that.
Well, I think it's been fun because her teams come down to like Nashville Dance Fest and other places. So she has her scouts now out there figuring out what's the best dance out of that event that we should bring back and learn. And we've brought several of those back. We actually have done like PYT, we learned at intermediate night, and then that became a competition dance down in Nashville. And we had probably 10 people down in Nashville from our group that were in competition. So yeah, it's come a little bit full circle on those.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about kind of what's been your biggest influence in LineDance4You. Like, was there anybody out there that you were like trying to mirror or trying to learn from? Who influenced kind of your growth in the line dance industry?
So, I this sounds a little odd because honestly, I always felt like a unicorn in doing it. I didn't know any other instructors for the longest time. I didn't know any other people that did what we did. And it was really just sort of learning as we went along. And so I didn't have anyone to follow, and especially creating this team format. There's a lot of people who have teams, like groups and clubs and stuff. But the way we structure LineDance4You, where we actually are a company, all of our instructors teach by the same format. They go through training. Honestly, even to this day, I don't really know anyone else doing it by that method. And so I didn't have anyone to look to, but I always like kind of pushing my way through and finding my own way. So I can't say that it's been great. I will say though, to that extent though, Brandon Zahorsky, he has always been such a great shining light in the bar scene. I love what he does. I love how he really would get his bar going so well, and he would teach a lot of great intermediate dances to large crowds of not necessarily intermediate dancers, and he would really be able to pull them along. And I thought it was really great. He had a great energy. He was just really great at what he did.
Yeah, and as far as like incredible bar dances, with Shivers and all of those, we do a lot of Brandon's dances. We do a lot of Mark Polino's dances.
Sure.
Mark's been down to teach at our venue. I mean, it's been great. And as far as like the bar dancing goes, there's nobody better than those guys. Everything that they come up with, them and Trevor now, incredible dances. So I can kind of see that influence, and people just really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Very fun dances, and they're also ambassadors of fun is on the app. So it's kind of interesting how everybody that's really is pumping up this whole industry in that scene, even though we all live in totally different states, we kind of migrate into that same thing. That's awesome. And
to bring the fun, and even like Brandon's, the way he teaches too, honestly a lot of it is like when we choose our music and our songs, one of the things that some we used to have slow dances and things like that, but now all of our dances have to be high energy, like just super fun, energetic things, because I just want everybody to forget about all their troubles for 3 hours. Forget everything. There's great things that come out of slower songs, but we always try to make sure everything's really high energy, because I just want everyone to feel so pumped up and so positive for that time with us. That's sort of one of our focuses when we choose our dances.
Yeah. Well, when they came out with Party Jumpin', that was perfect. Crazy fun dance.
Right.
So as far as your personal career in line dancing, what do you feel has been your kind of biggest achievement, or where you felt like, oh wow, this is really made like a big impact on the community or in the industry?
Right. Well, and it's funny, I was asking my husband this too, and I was like, is there like one particular thing? And we've done a lot of really cool things. We've done the Cherry Blossom Parade on national TV. We've done things with like Robert Duvall, and we've done a lot of really cool things. But honestly, the coolest things I find are the impacts we've had on people's lives. Like when I've met children of our dancers who I know met in our class. It's like that little human is here because we had a line dance class. And, seeing the friendships formed and really watching everybody else, to me, it's like the small things. That's the reason we do it. Yeah.
And how do you see kind of now the line dance community evolving kind of post-COVID, now that we've kind of made it through and everything is back to kind of what I would say full bore, full speed? What do you see kind of going forward? What do you think's happening now?
Right. So COVID was a sort of a help to line dancing in general, because quite honestly, over COVID, especially with the rise of TikTok and everything along those lines, our demographics shifted down. So, I like that with line dancing, it's a wide age group. There's 20 years difference between me and our instructors, right? Like we have a range in there. I like that we have a wide range, but just by happenstance, the industry in general was starting to age up. A lot of the dancers were aging up. After COVID, so many younger people are getting into it now, and it's wonderful. It's like there's a new energy, there's a new passion behind it, and this excitement that you see people doing. It's really fantastic to see that change. Seeing country swing kind of shifting in there a lot, that's becoming a big impact into it. I try to delineate those sometimes. Like I always say, we're LineDance4You, and while we like the other things, I know what I know. Yeah. I don't know the other things as well, but luckily we have like Jacqueline on our team who's passionate about swing. She teaches it very well, and so we want to incorporate it because it's just more ways to bring people together.
Absolutely. What's your favorite thing about line dancing?
The community. Well, and honestly too, it's a line I always use. The best line I try to say all the time, especially for our new people, is you will never get more do-overs in your life than on the dance floor in line dancing. It doesn't matter how many times you screw up, just pick it back up, whether it's at the next 8 count or at the next start of the dance. Of course, given that you're not railroading the person next to you, but but it's all about just keep trying it again, keep doing it again until you get it. And I love that. And also just seeing how people help each other. You know, everybody pitches in and helps each other. It's wonderful.
And what advice do you have for beginner dancers? Because we have a lot of new dancers all the time that come.
Right.
So what advice do you give them, or what's your main advice?
Yeah, so for beginner dancers, I would say 2 things. One is to actually take the lessons. Don't just dive headfirst into a dance that you see that looks fun. Unless you've got a dance background or you're just naturally gifted that way, a lot of times people just jump in, and that's great. It's enthusiastic. But take the lessons. Actually learn what the steps are called. If you learn what a jazz box is, if you learn what a shuffle is, then you're going to pick up everything else a little bit easier than just trying to stumble through it. So I think that's really important to try and really learn the steps, take the lessons for it, so that way you can pick it up from there. And then just keep trying it. Like I said, as long as you're not creating a domino effect and knocking all the other dancers down or creating a hazard on the floor, just keep going with it. Keep going as long as you're having fun and you're feeling good. Let's keep going, and eventually it's going to click. You're going to keep going with it.
What other advice do you have for more advanced dancers that have maybe learned 40 or 50 songs,
Right.
over the course of a year? What's advice do you give them?
Well, to give you a little plug here, it's make sure that they've got the app. But no, it's true, because of the fact that you're tracking what you know, and you're really able to visually see all the dances you're learning. You're also able to learn what's out there, what are the dances that I don't know yet, and you can really keep up with it. You know, if you've learned so many dances at this point, you probably know your step names. You're following along with those. You know, I just encourage people when they're learning dances to learn things. Well, I say to the step sheet, even though sometimes we do kind of tweak how we learn from a step sheet. A lot of people are learning off of videos only, but they're not learning the steps. And while it looks great, if you're competing, for instance, in something like that, you want to make sure your steps are clean. And so that's what I would suggest for that, is making sure that you know what your counts are, you know what your steps are, so that they look clean if you're looking to compete. If you're just going to have fun, go have fun.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing with the app. So it tracks all the different dances at the different venues, and at LineDance4You, the main venue's Loudon Kitchen. There's over 300 dances that they do at Loudon Kitchen. So there's a lot of dances. Danielle's put together some challenge lists. There's one called a beginner list, and it's LD, the number 4 and Y, LD4Y. Right. And you can look up beginner, you can look up intermediate. So there's a whole list of dances if anybody's looking for, hey, what beginner dances can we do? Right. They have a whole group of beginner dances that they start everybody out on, and then it gets into the Monday night intermediate dances. So all of that's in there, and you can track, and you can see cool dances, and also see all the different music that DJ Freedom plays, the songs that they play. So he played some good Halloween ones this week too.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get into some of the fun. This is the rapid fire question section of our podcast. So a couple fun questions. So you have cowboy boots on. So first question is cowboy boots or fuegos?
Boots.
And you do have fuegos?
I do have fuegos, and I'm like many. I'm a fuego ambassador with the LineDance4You, of course. Yep. I do like those as well. They're a fun change up, but boots are I love them.
Boots are the way to go. Awesome. Coffee. So Starbucks or Dunkin'?
100% Starbucks. 100%.
And what's your fancy order?
Shaken espresso right now. That's my current one. Although it's getting warmer, so double tall soy latte. Otherwise,
there we go. And this is always a fun one. What are your top 3 line dances that you like overall?
Number 1 dance of all time is Dizzy.
Dizzy, yes.
By all means. I love it to shut up and dance. That's my favorite one. I don't like it to the Dizzy song, but I love the dance.
And we do it a lot contra now, and it's all over the internet, all of our contra dances. And I think I put it up once in Line Dancers at Facebook, and so many people are like, we are doing that contra next week at our event. We love it. So yeah, Dizzy's a phenomenal dance.
And it's fun to when you're not doing it contra, to midway through, we'll flip. It's so easy to flip around on that one and contra with someone, and it's great seeing their reaction when they're not expecting it. The vibe, I love that one.
Yes, that's my favorite.
Yeah, I know, me too. I didn't think I was gonna like it when I first saw it, and I love it. It's so good. And honestly, probably going back a little ways, Throwback Love was a really fun one that I just loved doing. I probably couldn't do it to save my life anymore,
I don't know if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, Throwback Love. It came out about the same time as Perm. And both of those were just really fun, really great intermediate dances. Lots of fun for those. And, you know, selfishly, I also like my high heels on the beach.
High heels
as well.
on the beach.
That's
yeah.
I'm a big fan of that one, especially the Wiggle Wiggle.
All fantastic. Although I'll have to look up the new one, or the old one
Yeah.
that I have never seen. Okay, so people in the industry, who's your? I got in trouble because I called it who's your like crush. Who in the industry of you not met? Now I have to call it idol. Who's your line dance idol? People in the industry that you haven't met,
Right.
that you want to meet. Is there anybody out there that you're like, oh wow, it'd be great to meet this person?
Adia Nuno. I think she's done a lot of amazing things. She has really made a name for herself. She has just burst out. You know, I'm sure in her area she was really big, but obviously she's really burst out nationally.
Yeah, she's crushed it out in the West Coast.
Yeah.
You know, Arizona, California, all over.
Yeah, I mean,
but now
she's
all
everywhere
over now she's all over the U.S.
And I think it's fantastic. I think she's doing great things to really just bring a new energy to line dancing, and I love it. I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, she's one of those people that is just open to everybody. She just wants everybody to succeed like we do.
Right.
And it's great to have her in the community. Okay. Well, we'll get you two together at some
right.
point here for sure. For sure. What's your most recent favorite dance that's come out? Like something that you're like, wow, this is cool.
Actually, you know what I like is actually on the beginner side is bar song. Tipsy.
Bar song, super popular.
You know, it's just, you know, it's got the rumba box, which we don't do the rumba boxes very often anymore. But having the rumba box in there, you know, it's just got a little bit of variation to make it a little different. And you know, it's really picked up so well. And it's a fun dance, fun song.
Yep.
So
love it. So any funny experiences or interesting experiences that you've had in your career that you want to share?
Yeah, actually, well, there's one from many years ago. So funny. Well, not funny then. Hindsight, it's funny. We were dancing at one of our bars, and I was just dancing in the front row with some of our regulars. And, you know, we were all in our young 20s, and we were all buddies. And apparently one of the girls had a boyfriend issue, something with another girl. And not knowing anything about this at the time, I was just dancing next to one of our regulars. And all of a sudden, this other girl comes around real quickly to the front of the dance floor and comes up towards her. And I'm just watching this as she's coming around. And I see her go to throw a fist at the girl next to me. And just out of instinct, I just hooked her arm. And next thing I did is I grabbed her other arm. And now I'm holding this girl at the front of the dance floor. And suddenly the dance stops, right? Everyone's watching this. And I'm holding this girl with her arms behind her back. And all of a sudden I'm like, I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to do next. We didn't have bouncers. We didn't have anything else. And I'm just sitting there holding it. I was like, it was just such a crazy thing in hindsight. But apparently, you know, it's just a little drama with it. But, you know, you get all kinds of crazy things on the dance floor.
The good old bar fights. That's funny.
Yeah, that was a strange one.
And then one of the traditions, tell us a little bit about getting cupcaked.
That's all Mike. That is all Mike. So I always bring, I like my Sam's Club cupcakes, so I always get a big batch of cupcakes for everybody's birthday or occasion, whatever it is. It's actually the whole reason I have a Sam's Club membership is for these cupcakes. I love them. If you haven't had them, get these cupcakes. We always bring them, and Mike started this tradition. I don't remember who was the first person to get cupcaked, but it got to a point where now everybody, when there's a big birthday celebration, usually one of the team members or something along those lines, we don't do it to every person out dancing, but if it's a, you know, just a dance holiday, Mardi Gras or Valentine's, anytime there's cupcakes, somebody gets a cupcake to the face. And this last one I think was the best because it was Mike's birthday and he was the instigator. And he got 3 cupcakes to the face at one time.
Yep. Yeah, we all got lined up for a picture. He was down in the front, laying down, and the 3 girl instructors were right behind him, like, "Oh, we're gonna sit here for the picture." And as soon as they take the picture, all 3 of them smashed him in the face.
We got a great live shot because he went to smile and they were just coming in.
Yeah, it was awesome. So yeah, he got payback for sure. So as you know, like I'm into dreaming big.
Yeah.
You know, what's your 10x life? Doing things that people think are impossible, getting out there and getting it done, and just doing it.
Right.
What's your dream? Where are you taking things for yourself? What do you want to do?
Well, first steps first is we're actually looking right now. We're looking at actually creating a line dancer instruction program, not formalized. Like there's some programs out there right now, more internally, more this local area. You know, there's a lot of people that are interested in becoming instructors. With LineDance4You, we train our instructors specifically, and we make sure that everyone goes through full training before they go out and teach. And we just think there's a lot of people that are interested in doing it, so we want to give an opportunity to teach more instructors. Hopefully that gives us more of an opportunity to then grow LineDance4You, because if people come onto our team, you know, we can grow out of the area too and expand from here. We'd love to see more opportunities outside of this, because, you know, we've kind of saturated Loudoun County. And, you know, we'd like to see that opportunity, but as it stands right now, we all work full time, and I also have a household and whatnot to run. So we're trying to do it strategically, so we're not wearing ourselves thin. We really want to give an opportunity to grow and expand out our opportunities to different areas that need it.
Yeah, well, the instructors, if anybody's coming up and want to be instructor, you better have a good voice and be ready to speak, because the LineDance4You instructors, they literally will say every single step, every single count, and they will do it not just for the 3 that they're teaching. It's like all night long.
Right.
They're talking through the dances, because we have so many beginner dances. It's great. I don't know how they do it. They're phenomenal. They're phenomenal instructors.
I feel like people have nightmares of hearing our voices in their sleep, you know,
Well,
at the end of a dance class.
Well, even Mike, he's like, if we're just sitting there and there's a dance going on, he's talking the steps. He's like, I can't help it. I just constantly talk the steps. So.
I can't listen to music on the radio anymore, because if I
You're
listen to
going
a
through the
song,
steps.
I'm calling steps.
Exactly. Tell us about the rest of your life. What do you do outside of dancing?
So I actually am the director of operations for a financial planning firm. I've actually just moved this year to a different firm, but it's the same field that I've been in. So I've run that operation been in that business for 18 years now that I've been doing that. And it's great. I mean, it's very similar and different in a lot of ways. You know, I run LineDance4You like I run a business, like I would run any other business on there. So I have sort of a similar side. But this is so much more fun. This is so much more fun than you know, leading advisors who are giving financial advice. You know, I mean, it's important, not as fun.
Not as fun, for sure. Tell us a little bit about what you see going on with line dance competitions. We don't really do them that much here, and you've seen them. Some of the people in our group has participated in like Nashville and other things. What do you see happening with that? Because it seems to be, you know, with line dancing and with swing dancing, that's starting to become more popular.
I mean, there's definitely a trend towards doing it a lot more. And again, I think a lot of it spans from younger people that are out there trying new dances and really expanding that and really wanting to set themselves apart in the competition level. It's also just, you know, more ways to get together, more ways to, you know, to get people together and to learn different things. But yeah, as far as the competition side of things, I mean, I don't know. I honestly can't say. I don't know if it's changed as much, because I wasn't as keen on it before. I wasn't paying attention. But watching our dancers go out and do competitions, you know, it just makes me so proud to feel that they're going out and feel confident to go out there and really put themselves out. Like this guy over here, I can't take credit for you, but at the same point too, I think it's great to see you guys out there really putting yourself out and making that effort to you know, to really compete and try your hand at these things. It takes a lot of courage to do that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, well, I always encourage everybody to do it. Just get out there, have fun. I mean, most of them are it's like $10. It's like, just do it. It's
right.
You know, it's not like, you know, a huge thing. You're not going to get rich off it. It's just for fun.
right.
But you do increase your skill level. You really focus a lot more. And so it's great to see a lot of the line dancers around here
Right.
doing the competition. So I try to lead the way as a rhinestone dancer out there.
You do have that impact on people a lot.
But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. So how do people get a hold of you? Where can they lift you up? What's your social stuff?
Yeah, so everything is LineDance4You. It's all the number 4. We actually did a transition years ago. It started out LineDance4 because we were doing it for you. It's sort of the idea of how it came around. I wanted to do it it wasn't about me. It was about the people on the dance floor. So we started LineDance4You. And then, of course, the play on the number 4 and how important that number is, it became the number 4. So everything is LineDance4You, whether it's .com, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all of them up there. That's all of our sites. And then, of course, you just look for that guy right there on the dance floor.
Yep, yeah. And they have, like I said, in the app, they have a ton of challenge lists. They're doing a challenge list for every single lesson. There's a lot of challenge lists that say all ALL. So it'll be Line Dance for You all Saturday. It'll list all the dances they do in the venue the whole night. And so it's great. People can track what they're doing. They can say, oh, what is that dance? So it's really, since I'm in this area, I pump it up all over the place. So they've done a great job. Danielle has probably brought hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of line dancers into the app, and they really enjoy it. So first thing they do when they come in the venue, like, you better get the app so you can keep track of everything.
And it really has been. It's been such a great benefit to our whole line dancing community to really feel like what other people are doing out there and really learning what's out there, outside of our bubble.
Yeah, well,
it's
definitely
wonderful.
when they're traveling, they're like, oh, this is a different dance. They do a different dance.
Right.
So it's great. So follow the app. Make sure you get the app. You can go. All these podcasts will be on our YouTube channel, Todd TheDataCowboy. You can see us there. You can contact me at any time on any of the social media, Todd TheDataCowboy, Facebook, Instagram, etc. If you have anybody that you think brings the most fun in the industry, email me at IMIN at bringthefundance, not .com, but .dance. So send me an email, say, hey, this person should be on your podcast. They're incredible. They bring the fun to my venue. They bring the fun to our area. I want to interview all these incredible people year after year in the industry. Thank you so much, Danielle, for everything you've done. Like, you've completely changed my life here in Reston, Virginia. She's made such a huge impact. And actually, before we stop, I do want you to tell us a little bit about all these festivals. Like, you have us doing Dirty Boots Festival and the Youth for Tomorrow Festival. Like, how do you find these, and how do you like to connect that into the community? I do want to understand all of that, because it's such a cool component of line dancing.
Right. So in all of those cases, actually, they tend to find us. So whenever there's a festival coming out, we'll get involved with those. And they're charity opportunities for the most part. Most of them are for charities that we go out and help. It's, to me, I always say it's our grown-up recital. Right? Like, we go out to the bar and it's fun to dance out there, and especially to show off a little bit. But when we have an opportunity to do these other things, they're all unique in their own way. Youth for Tomorrow has been a festival we've done for 14 years. And that one's unique because we really make it a show. We tweak all the dances, we change them, and we hybrid them together, and we add all these little flair things to it. So that's really a fun change up. But I literally treat it like our recital that we do. And it's just a fun opportunity for you guys to show off to family members that may not be coming out to the bars to see you dance and see what you're into. So I'm trying to marry that.
Fantastic. I know that you're called Line Dance for You, but you also, whenever we're doing these shows and things, we all have our United We Dance shirts, which you've got on now. So what's the connection of United We Dance to Line Dance for You?
Right. So United We Dance came out after COVID. During COVID, we were not going to come back. Like I said before.
Thank goodness she did. Thank goodness she did, because she's impacted so many hundreds of people's lives. So thank you for coming back.
But yeah, so I literally still have the farewell post in my drafts in Facebook, and I never could hit send. And of course, in 2021, it was getting, the polarization of people, because we were all at home, we were all in our bubbles. We all saw the polarization with people with, politically especially, and the mask rules and everything like that. And everybody, there was so much negativity. And it just really dawned on me that one of the things that I loved about line dancing is when I was on the dance floor, I didn't know if you were a Democrat or a Republican. I didn't know what you felt about this or what you felt about that. All I knew was we were together on the dance floor, and we were friends, and we were happy, and it brought joy to everybody. And that was the important thing for me coming back, was I really wanted to bring everyone back together again, and just to kind of shake that off. And that was my way of kind of helping to bring people back into normal, right? Bringing us back to together. And so the United We Dance is kind of where that came out of. Now, I'm not the first person who's used that term. I've seen that since then. I've seen it come up here and there. It's so important for us that I really wanted to stress it, that like on the dance floor, everybody's friends. We all just have such a great time, and we can forget about all the troubles and all the things that worry us from day to day. And so it was just so important. And now it's really bridged to, it's not just about political things or masks or COVIDs or things like that, but just the dance community, and the fact that, you know, we can go out and dance with people at different places. They go to different venues, and the whole point is that dance brings us together. So that was the reasoning.
That's fantastic. So anything on the horizon coming up shortly? What should we be paying attention to or looking out for?
We do. Coming up in March, we are celebrating 20 years of Line Dance for You. So when I first started this, I had no idea I'd do this for 20 years. Plus, it is hopefully there'll be a 30 and 40
Another
year
20,
too,
yeah,
right?
another 20 years.
But yeah, so we didn't know the exact date when we started, but we knew it was around springtime. So we usually target around March is about when we typically do our anniversary for it. So we're targeting right now for March 28th. We will be having a full throwdown. We're getting all of our past instructors, past team in. It'll be great.
Great. Well, we look forward to it. Super excited. Thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you for bringing the fun all the time when you're out there. Bring the fun everywhere you go. Make sure that everybody's enjoying their line dancing. And we really appreciate you, Danielle.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
I have one question for you. Who is going to bring the fun?
You're in the honky tonk with Todd, the Data Cowboy.